Hi, everyone. I am looking at the work you've submitted for the forum called Making Work Visible. And the purpose of this short video is to walk through the materials that you've provided and then to talk about the file naming and the presentation of your work. Um, the file naming and folder naming um, items that I bring to your attention are not meant to be busy work or incidental work at all. When you think about one of the key purposes of technical and professional writing, it's to make work visible to people, to make work that you do accessible. And when you get out into out of college and into the workplace, you'll see that a lot of a lot of projects are team oriented, which require the sharing of information and the management of content. So how you name your work matters a great deal. What we have on this page is a nice bit of consistency. Because of what's on the screen, I can see that we're in section 81, and then I can see that Team A, Team B, Team C, and D shared documents are all labeled. And this one has Team B has the added benefit of naming Project 1, Sprint 1. And that's really helpful. I think the general principle is when in doubt, add more information rather than including less information. So we're off to a good start in this case. So let's take a look at Team A shared documents. And here we have Team A's Google Drive folder. And let's see what we get when we click on that. So what we get in this case is very interesting and very common. And that is that the section number is dropped off. While you're producing your work, it's always perfectly clear to you, and then after you share it, you're not able to imagine what it's going to look like to someone else, and that's another reason I'm showing this to you. Um, so, what's missing now is the section 81, and I know that Alexa is part of that team, but I can't tell anything else. Maybe I don't need to because in this case we're talking about team work. And when I open up one of the documents, no doubt, it will tell me what whose work I'm looking at. Let's look at the file names, Practicing Sprint Planning Question Forum. We have two Project 1 documents. And this is an attribute of uploading and translating a document from Word to the Google Drive platform. So the question is, since both of these have the same times, I wonder which one is the most current one. And because I can't tell, it's going to take me a little bit of extra work to find out. And forcing users to do a little bit of extra work isn't the worst thing in the world. But when you think about the little bit of extra work that you have to do over and over again, and the amount of mental energy it takes, you get the idea of why it's so important to name your files and your folders thoroughly and to reduce redundancy so that there's no confusion. And it's you don't a user doesn't have to think too much in order to figure out which item to click on. When I click on Team A's link to the Kanban board, I go here. It looks like I haven't been made a member yet. You've done the good work of sharing your board with me. Please also go in and um, I should have, you can see Team B has added me to theirs, and Team A has not yet. So please do go back in and add me to your membership. Team B has taken a different approach and provided me with this document. Team B, so we have 356281, Sprint 1, Team B. That's nice file naming, and it gives me a lot of good information to work with. What you don't have here is a list of names that comprises Team B, and you might give some thought to whether or not it wouldn't be helpful to have Team B names here so that everyone is getting So everyone has their name on it. It's good to have your name on these documents so that you have a sense of ownership. Um, Notice that when I click on these items, they all have normal text. So this document hasn't been styled yet, and that's okay. It's not due until Sunday, but you'll want to work on making sure that you use styles um, instead of manually styling your documents. When I get to Team B's Kanban board, it's on the drop-down list right here, 356281, Sprint 1 to do, Team B. That's terrific file naming. And then I can look here and drop down the various items to see what's going on. What's not here is any breakdown by team member. So um, that can backfire in terms of planning unless you assign specific team members to do specific work. So by Sunday, this should be clarified so that we can tell what's what. Um, Unless I misunderstand the purpose of this particular board, but here we have read the assigned helpful portions of TCT to ensure each member is doing the work correctly. Um, I can't tell if this is for the whole team or for a single person, so that needs to be clarified. And that will help you and me be able to tell who's responsible for which work and how that work is progressing. I'm back on making work visible and looking at Team C's materials. When I go to Google Drive, I get nothing. So this is a work in progress, obviously. 3562, we have the whole course name, Section 81, Fall 2016. That's nice. That's nice. There is no team name here, and so that needs to be added so that it's clear what your team name is. And then looking at the Kanban board, I also need to be added as a member of this board. Okay. Finally, I'm looking at Team D and going to Drive. Okay, Group D, Project 1 folder. And so up here you can see there's no course indication or section. So that should be updated. Now we have, let's see what happens when I open one of these documents. It's an interesting exercise. If we go to 3-page technical, well, let's go to individual research. I open that up, and now I can see this document says individual research, and now I've lost all identifying information in terms of course, section, team, and teammate names. So while I understand that on the one hand, adding all this information to file names and to the page and to the folders may seem tedious or redundant, you can see that in terms of practical usage, it's absolutely necessary. Now, another issue would be, like if I print this out, now there's no identifying information on this document at all. So my message to all teams is that you need to figure out a way to name your files and folders in a way that is going to be thorough and clear, and try to imagine different uses for the documents. Certainly when people share these documents via Google Drive, that's a clear indication, that's a clear use in which you can imagine that all that complete information would be very helpful and in fact necessary to avoid confusion and chaos. In practical terms, I print this out and I go to the printer and there are 4 or 5 other documents there and there's no identifying information on this, and it just creates a lot of confusion. Finally, I am now on the page that I just notified you about earlier today, Project One due dates. And near the bottom, I've added an item to what's due by October 9th, the end of this week. And that is, as a team, agree on a thorough, detailed file and folder naming convention to ensure clarity and avoid confusion. So the idea here is to review this video and then make sure that you communicate with your teams during meetings and decide on a way to improve the clarity and thoroughness of your files and folder naming based on the content of this video.